All right, so this morning, myself, 𝗪𝗛𝗋, we got in the lab for you to figure out how the Chicago Bulls can still get into the 7th seed clinching scenarios. All right, so we're going 𝗁𝗃𝗀𝗀 style. Yeah. Roll those sleeves up, no khakis, all right? But we broke it down for you. There's 2 primary scenarios on how the Bulls can get the 7th seed. Alex, take us through scenario number 1, the most likely.
So scenario 1, again, I don't know that it's likely, but it's the easiest to digest. If the Bulls go 4-0,
went out.
They beat the Cleveland Cavaliers on Tuesday. They beat the Heat, a team they've played well against. And then they beat the Wizards and the Sixers, winnable games. If they go 4-0 and the Hawks and the Magic each go 2-2 or worse, Bulls are the 7th seed. Easy peasy, you don't need to worry about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty straightforward thing. Win out, need a little bit of help from the Hawks and the Magic. So let's take a look at what the Hawks and the Magic are dealing with in order for them to go 2-2, the help that you need. The Magic here. All right, so the interesting thing first that we'll point out, these 2 teams play each other twice. Yeah. So that gets really interesting. And you might be thinking, all right, how is that gonna work out with both those teams? If the Magic beat the Hawks twice, the Hawks beat the Magic twice, they split, whatever it may be, any permutation of 2-2 or worse gets the Bulls in.
And you can see a path, you can see a path. If the Magic beat the Hawks twice, can absolutely happen, lose to the Celtics and lose to the Pacers, they're 2-2. That, you can see that happening, right? So in that scenario, the Hawks have lost to the Magic, they can beat the Nets, they can beat the Sixers. That's how you get to these 2 teams at 2-2, and it's like, okay, I can see that happening.
Yeah, it's not out of the realm of possibility, but if you're looking at the Bulls side of things, right, let's forget the help. This becomes the big fish. Yeah. The Bulls beating the Cavaliers, it's a tall task. This is one of the best teams in the NBA, the #1 seed in the Eastern Conference, and here's what you're dealing with on Tuesday. The Cleveland Cavaliers are still playing for that #1 seed. They're 4 games ahead of the Boston Celtics with 4 games to go. Yeah. If they lose out somehow by some chance and the Boston Celtics win out, the Celtics take the 1 seed. So I think there's gonna be people thinking maybe the Cavaliers are playing a little less to their highest capability, resting starters. You're not gonna see that. They still have some things to play for. Yeah. So if the Bulls win that game at Cleveland, big game, their chances of getting that 7th seed go to 15%. All right, we're talking big numbers, 15%.
Yeah, 15%, big numbers.
Where you do see the big numbers, the 44% for the 8th seed, okay? But the 15%, it's not 0, it's not 2, it's 3, it's 15, it's doable.
And that leaves 41% for the 9 or 10 seed. So now it's a better chance that they're the 7 or 8 than the 9 or 10.
Correct, so interesting. But if the Cavs beat the Bulls, which is according to the odds makers and most evaluators think is the most likely thing that would happen, your chance of getting the 7th seed go down to 1%. But Alex, 1's not 0. Let's lay out how the Bulls can go 3-1 in their final 4 games and still make the 7th seed, host that play-in game for that first round of the play-in with a chance to get that 7th seed overall in the postseason. Here it is. The Bulls can go 3-1, with that 1 loss being against anybody. If the Hawks and the Magic each go 1-3. Nothing better than 1-3. Now it's impossible for it to be 0-4 because they play each other. So if one team went 0-4, the other would go 2-2. So that's why it has to be 1-3 each. Right. So here's the world where that's possible. Say the Magic beat the Hawks that first game. That's the 1 win. They could lose. Alex already mentioned it. They could lose to Boston. They could lose to Indianapolis. They could maybe lose to the Hawks there. That's 1-3 for the Magic. The Hawks start 1-0 against or 0-1 against the Magic. This is where things get complicated. Will the Hawks lose to the Nets? Will they also lose to the Sixers and then maybe beat the Magic in that last game?
That's where you need some help.
That's where you need some help. It's really these 2 games for Atlanta. You got 2 teams there that might be thinking Cooper Flag, might be thinking lottery. We are unsure there. That's where things get murky, okay? So here's one caveat to this scenario where the Bulls go 3-1 and the Hawks and Magic go 1-3. Big caveat. If this 1 loss for the Bulls right here is to the Miami Heat on Wednesday in Chicago, then you get to this scenario. If that loss is to the Heat and the Heat go undefeated, and let's take a look here, this is a likely scenario for the Heat to go undefeated. They play the Sixers tonight on Monday when we're recording this. So if you're watching this on Tuesday and the Heat have lost to the Sixers, this scenario doesn't matter.
Forget about it.
Video now. If the Heat have beaten the 76ers here, keep watching because they still play the Bulls, obviously that huge game, the Pelicans and the Wizards. So if the Heat win out, including that win versus the Bulls, here's what you have. You have a 3-way tie between the Bulls, the Magic, and the Heat at 39 and 43. So what happens in this scenario? You get into some NBA 3-way tiebreakers.
Tiebreaker time!
The first tiebreaker that we're going to is the fact that there is a division winner amongst these three teams.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, the Magic at 39 and 43 would be the winners of that division. They would take the crown and earn that number 7 seed.
Southeastern Conference not very good.
Yeah,
because the other teams there are the Heat, the Hawks, who we've eliminated in this scenario,
the
and
Hornets as well, and one other that I'm blanking on. But
the Wizards?
The Wizards, I believe, could be correct. So you have the Magic there at 7. The Bulls would claim the 8 seed in this scenario because they hold the head-to-head over the Heat, the better winning percentage. If they lost this game, the worst that they would be against the Heat would be 2-1. They're currently 2-0 versus the Heat this season with that final game to play against Miami. All right? So, again, you're looking at a 1% chance here, but not impossible. Really, your biggest hurdle comes with Atlanta and their ability to lose at Brooklyn, at Philadelphia. The saving grace that you would have is that these are road games instead of home games for Atlanta. Right. A little tougher to win on the road in most scenarios, but again, these two teams might be in the tank bowl. So, I hope you stuck with us on that. We may have talked fast, we may have gone through it, but these are the two primary scenarios here. And the emphasis is really tomorrow night at the Cleveland Cavaliers, Bulls, Cavs, get that 7-day free trial on CHSN to watch, because if they win that game, you're looking at 15%. 15% chance.
So you're saying there's a shot.
Yeah, what other things have 50% chance? I don't know. You gotta eat something. But it's a big fish there, Bulls, Cavs, and then of course, regardless of that outcome, Bulls, Miami Heat is pretty much gonna dictate what that play-in seeding is gonna be. So keep watching these Bulls. That 7 seed is in play. Who knows what's gonna happen in the postseason, but there are things to play for. Some exciting basketball with Coby White, 𝗪𝗓 𝗪𝗓, 𝗪ance 𝗪𝗓 all leading the helm. So some things for you guys to watch here. Again, thanks for sticking with us. We know this is far-fetched. We know this is a reach, but we got in the lab. We figured we'd have some fun with the numbers today. Alex, thank you for joining me, and keep your eye on the Bulls. Maybe we'll see you guys in the 7 seed play-in tournament.